Take 3 big guesses. It's a dog. Listen to this. Yeah, thirsty dog. Does it make you want to drink something?
I love it. Yes.
And it kind of sounds like a sample, like a dog being, like a marine dog being instructed to drink. Drink, 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 drink. Okay. There we go. Thirsty dog, good dog. That would be how Heidi May assaults a large plastic bongo cup of her signature drink, the Heidi May. Part iced coffee, part iced tea. We had someone write in after we had mentioned the Heidi May, a cold, ghastly drink that Heidi requests at restaurants. And someone said they went into a Starbucks and on a goof said, I'd like a grande Heidi May. And the person behind the counter went, oh my God, I heard that podcast. Knew what it was and gave this person a free upgrade to a venti Heidi May.
That's awesome.
How cool is that?
It's great.
That says to me that this podcast has landed. We are a thing. We are now part of the American story. We're in the conversation. And speaking of conversation, wonderful listener and podcast enthusiast, my name is Henry Rollins. That's right. And when you write in, it's not Rawlings, it's Rollings. I'll have you know. Anyway, the other voice you hear laughing to my right, her name is
Heidi May.
And we are here together once again, going into our 19th year. Wow.
Oh my God.
It makes, when I just think about that, I need an aspirin the size of my head.
Me too.
Anyway, here's yet another podcast. So, Heidi, usually we talk about our breakfast when we do our podcast, like what happened on our way to the restaurant and who I insulted or what wrong thing I did. So instead of that, you and we had a pretty eventful evening yesterday. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, it was fun.
It caused me to dress in my shirt, my good shirt.
A long sleeve shirt with a collar.
Yeah, I have no clothes like that because I live in t-shirts. You all have seen me. I dress, like I'm about to get puked on and have to be hosed off and sent back into work. And so one time Heidi said that I needed some straight, real clothing in case I ever had to meet like adults with responsibility.
No, because you were doing the upfronts in New York and you didn't have anything to wear.
Right. So I need an outfit to deal with responsible adults.
Yeah.
And so she knows where to go. I don't know anything. And so we got me a nice shirt, and I'm scared to know how much it cost. I'm sure it wasn't $8.99, was it?
No.
Okay, whatever. I don't want to know the rest. I can't imagine spending money on clothes.
Fits you like a glove, though.
No, it's a good shirt. Anyway, there I was in my $40 shirt downtown with Heidi May last night. And the reason we were downtown was there's an amazing woman we know named Kelly Mullen. And I can't exactly describe her job because when she describes it to me, I don't quite get it. But basically, she works with huge accounts and she gets the right people together. And she works currently with Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs just did a 20-minute short film with Morgan Spurlock. The great Morgan Spurlock, the Academy Award nominated director with his cool CNN show, and also the great film Super Size Me. I met Morgan years ago when he came to be on the Henry Rollins show on IFC, and I liked him immediately. He's just a really good guy. He's insanely bright, and he's just a good guy, and I just really liked him as soon as I met him. And so the offer came across like this. Morgan, on behalf of Haagen-Dazs, has done a short film on the modern artisan, whereas he's interviewed and documented 2 people who run a restaurant where they hand make their food, very laboriously and with great care. 2 men who make custom knives that take days to make, and a man in Japan, Yuji Nagatani. I forgive me if I got that wrong. but he and his people make these rice bowls that will last you the rest of your life, and they make them by hand. It's this beautiful 24-minute film called Crafted. And so Kelly said, we're going to have the restaurateurs, the knife makers, and Morgan on stage after Crafted plays in front of press, food people, and would you moderate the panel? And I love Haagen-Dazs. It was my last straight job. And I said, it was my last. I said, Kelly, that was my last normal job. She says, oh, I know. I just think you'd be great for this. You and Morgan know each other. And I said, oh, I'm in. And
you said I'm in after I told you there's going to be a bunch of free
well,
ice
yeah.
cream.
And then you find out there's a reception afterwards with free ice cream. And I said, now I'm in with a vengeance. Now I'm running down there now to camp out. Anyway, met up with Morgan again. Hadn't seen him for a few years. And as always, he's great. And we met the amazing people, Courtney Burns and Nick Bala, who run Bar Tartine in San Francisco. You should check it out. The food looks incredible. And David Van Wyck and Luke Snyder, who run Blood Root Blades. And they were all on the panel. So there's 6 of us on stage. The thing goes really well. They're all incredibly articulate. I knew Morgan was easy because he's so bright. And the other 4 were amazing. And at one point, Kelly looks at me from the audience, gives me the 2 minutes sign. I land the thing. We nail it right on time. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, there's free ice cream at the reception at the rooftop. Free ice cream of the new line of Haagen-Dazs, the artisan line, which is what this thing was there to promote. And I said, let it be known that Haagen-Dazs has financed this entire beautiful short film, but never once put themselves in the film, which I thought was really cool. And again, there's free ice cream. And in the words of Walt Whitman, don't screw this up. Let's go get free ice cream. So we all dashed up to this rooftop. And there in the setting sun are rows of single scoop cups of designer ice cream.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
You say it with such love.
Oh, and it's free. Free. You can eat as much ice cream as you want. And I haven't been in a situation like that for years. And so I look at the ice cream and I walk towards the ice cream and someone says, Henry, that was great. I'm like, hi, thank you very much. 3 steps away from ice cream, 2 steps away. Can we do a photo? Sure. And the ice cream is melting.
Yes.
Melting.
But I
So
saw all this and I got you ice cream.
Heidi ran and got me some ice cream, and I got to have a couple of scoops and a cookie. And I met a lot of really cool people who were incredibly nice, did a lot of
You
photos.
did end up in the corner behind a plant, though. I noticed that.
Yeah, well, Morgan and I kind of fell to the back so we could catch up with what's been going on. And I think we were both kind of that same kind of person, like, look at all these people. What do we do? And so it was good to talk to him. He's just fantastic. And we met a lot of really good people. And it was really fun to be able to conduct this, too brief for my liking, but this brief interview with these 5 extraordinary people. And their answers were so cool and so articulate. And if you get a chance, it's 24 minutes of beautiful camera work, 3 really great stories of 3 groups of people with 100% unimpeachable integrity who have foregone a bigger salary to make something of great beauty, durability, with a great deal of affection. And so anyway, it was just a great night with real adults who work for a living. Anyway, we had a very good time, and the ice cream was so good. They should just give me all the ice cream I want. The Haagen-Dazs truck should just pull up to the office and go like, jingle, jingle, jingle. Hey, Rawlings, come and take. Anyway, that happened. So, Heidi May.
Yeah.
Heidi May, with her oversized index cards, she writes down stories she wants me to recount. So, what do you have for me today?
Well, today I thought it would be fun. Because I don't even know a lot about this. You were on the first Lollapalooza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Oh, that's great. All right. In the year, I believe 1990, the Rollins band is in existence, and we're working away, touring and getting by, and pretty much all living in New Jersey. Chris, the guitar player, and I were camping out on the drummer's mother's floor. Audrey, who's had the biggest heart, who just didn't mind because we were broke, and she didn't mind, and we were practicing in Andrew, the bass player's basement, and so that was our life. And now and then there's shows we go do like a weekend in New England. Like we're just kind of getting by and writing songs that I think would eventually end up being on the End of Silence. And so a call comes in from management. Hey, Jane's Addiction, their opening band just dropped out. They want you to open. Good gig. Take it. Don't be stupid. Get yourselves out to the Midwest. You have 48 hours. We're like, all right. Pack up the van and haul ourselves out to wherever it was, Cleveland, Detroit, wherever, Chicago, I forget where. So we drive like crazy, get out there and meet Jane's Addiction. And at this point, nothing shocking was out. The band has a following that puts them in 2,000 to 3,000 seaters. And they got the following. I mean, they got fans, man. Like people are into it, singing every word. I mean, people are into it. And so we meet Jane's Addiction.
You didn't already know them?
No, I knew of them, of course. And I'd been on an airplane with them. I sat behind them one day.
Oh, I thought you knew them.
I sat behind them one day. I went, that's because I recognized Perry. I said, okay, that's got to be Jane's Addiction. That's definitely that Perry Farrell guy because he's very recognizable. So we meet them. And they're super cool. And I'll never forget this. They sound checked with Zeppelin. Something off of na 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 na. I forget. And they killed it. It was cool watching Jane's Addiction. I didn't start off as a fan. I started off as their opening band, but I became a fan. And looking back, I'm so happy I got to see them do a Zeppelin song. Anyway, so we're the unannounced opening band. This was so much fun. And all the people know is, I forget what band dropped out, but some band, they went home for some reason, and they just said, there will be an opening act, and then it's Jane's Addiction. And this is like a Neil Young show or an Ozzy show. They bought a ticket. There's only one band they want to see. Whoever's opening, it could, it doesn't matter. There's one band and one band only that's on these people's minds. So as the opening band in a situation like that, the audience kind of endures you. Like they're like, all right, they'll politely not throw a chair at your head because Perry's coming. And so I'll never forget this. We go rolling out on stage and no one's being told who the band is. And we just kind of run out there because we got 45 minutes. There's no time to walk out and wave. You just run out there and start playing as you're assembling. And the audience, it was so cool. So many people in the audience. You see people looking at each other like, yes, like people hugging. People are so happy because they're getting and people are just like, yes, like out of nowhere. It's the Rollins band. And it was so fun. And the reaction was like prevalent throughout the audience. So I was like, wow, their audience is okay with us. And so we played. This went flat out because we were, already practicing. We were in the pocket. So we killed it. And then I watched with curiosity. I watched Jane's Addiction. And I must say, I must be honest, I didn't get it at first. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like Chris and I watched and the audience, like you've been to a million shows where the first two songs, crowds go bananas. Then they, they're breathing too hard. They settle down and everyone goes, okay. And they just settle in for the show.
Not their crowd.
Not their crowd. Their crowd is like a Coke can shook up where you pop the tab all the way through the encore. Like the front third where everyone is passing each other around. It never stops. It's like this roiling sea of youthful energy. And people sing every song. I mean, it is a love fest, and I don't quite get it. And it could be like, who do they think they are? But I sat there going, And so we did like 2 shows with them, and they're cool to us. They're really cool people. And I'm talking to Perry. I spent a lot of time talking to the bass player and the drummer, Steven, really, really cool. Anyway, they couldn't be more friendly, and they seem to like us. And the two bands together seem like it's a good double bill.
Really
Because
is.
both bands will kick your ass.
Yeah.
So as far as bang for your buck, you walked out of there with a limp. I feel like you got a show. And so they liked us. Their audience liked us. And we didn't distract from, you're not blowing Jane's Addiction off stage. It doesn't matter who you are. You'd have to be Prince. I mean, they come on with it. I mean, they're a tremendous live band. And so we do a weekend with them. And like, thanks, we limp back to New Jersey or whatever. And then a few weeks later, hey, Jane's has a weekend of shows here. They love you guys. Would you come out and do more shows? We're like, well, hell yeah. And so we drove out again. And this happened like 2 or 3 times in the space of a few months. Hey, Jane's wants you to do like 2 shows. Hey, hurry. And we're hanging out with them more. And that's when I got it. I think it was in Chicago. We played that place, the Aragon. It's just this big boomy hall. I don't know why anyone plays there. The acoustics are just, it's murder. Like there's nowhere that sounds good. And I think that was the night where I stood back by the soundboard and I went, oh, yeah. I went from I don't get it to I think this is like my favorite band right now, where it just clicked.
Not only are they great musically, but it's an experience live.
Yeah, it really is. And it was kind of like getting hit by something. I was like, it wasn't like, oh, I guess they're kind of cool. It was like, oh, what was I thinking? This is one of the best live bands I've ever seen. And I'm a pretty hard judge on live bands, not because I think I'm anything good or was anything good, but I hold bands to such a high standard live because Black Flag taught me to hold myself and any band to that. That's the standard. Who cares if you make a nice sounding studio record? You get take 2. Live is where we get to see whether you can do it or not. And, Black Flag was always like, play a good live show or don't show up. Anyway, I'm not trying to tie too long a kite tail onto this thing. So they like us, we like them. And then one day in one of these like 3-day weekend things, my road manager says, hey, Perry would like you to ride on his bus today. And this is when Jane's Addiction had 2 buses. 2 of the guys on one bus and 2 of the guys on the other.
Were there problems?
Yeah. Can't go into it, but
Okay.
I'm sure it's in some book somewhere.
All right.
So anyway, I jump on the Perry bus, and I've never been on a tour bus before. And it was like a country boy in his first day in New York City. I sit down, and I kind of compressed my body, like I'm not taking too much room, like a country mouse, on those front lounge seats that you've been on a bus. And I just sat and looked at it. I was like, wow. I said, is that a coffee maker? They went, and they don't know that I've never been on a bus. I'm like, they're like, yeah. Whoa, a TV, huh? They're like, yeah. I go, can I see the rest? And they're like, sure, knock yourself out. And I walk to the back, a back lounge. I come up and I sit back down and I was like, huh, okay, wow. And one of them looked at me and said, you've never been on a tour bus? And I went, no. And one of them said, oh, I feel like such a jerk. I'm like, why? They said, because we've been around for like a few years and you've been around forever. And, you're kind of one of those guys who I'm like, come on, you're a great band. So I sat on this tour bus. I'm like, damn, man, this would be, I go, you sleep in those bunks? And they're like, yeah. And you have a driver? You're like, yeah. Because, after the show, it's like, okay, Chris will drive and I'll keep him awake. That's how we go. And so Perry goes, hey, come back and talk to me. And so I go back to the back lounge. Perry has this editing bay set up in the back lounge. He is editing The Gift, the Jane's Addiction movie. I'm like, check this guy out. I mean, like, he's like this maverick. I'm duly impressed. And the room is hot from these like big machines on. I'm like, what are you doing? He shows me a few moments of The Gift. I'm like, okay, and you're editing it in a moving bus? I'm just like all kinds of impressed. So he sits next to me, and he did this thing where he talks and he looks at you and then he looks away. And he'd look back at me every few seconds to see how I'm reacting to what he's saying. Man, I want to do a festival tour where there's like booths, like voting booths and gun rights, and where people can argue and they can do this and you can eat foods from around the world and all these bands will play and people from different neighborhoods will get together. He sketches out this whole thing. He goes, and then he looks at me. So what do you think about something like that, man? I said, I don't know. Sounds cool to me. He said, okay. So you like that idea? I said, yeah, sounds pretty cool. He went, all right. And then he went back to editing. I said, well, see you. And I went back to the front of the bus. And we pull up to the venue, and I can see out the window our little van following. Like, hi, guys. And so I hop off the bus back to the real world. And that afternoon, Jane's Addiction's manager, Ted, comes into our dressing room and said, okay, so Henry, we're doing a thing next summer, summer 91, called Lollapalooza. And it's basically that thing that Perry was telling you about. We would like you to be the opening band. And we were like, wow. Because for a band like us, that would be maybe the biggest break we're ever going to get. I mean, and you'll see as the story rolls on. And so I said, yeah. He said, okay, so here's what we'd like to offer you. You'll do the first half of the tour, like 3 weeks or whatever it is. And then you'll rotate out and we'll bring in another band so they can have an opportunity to be on the bill. And I went, okay, let me give it a think. Let me talk to my bandmates because, it's a democracy. And Ted leaves the room. And I don't remember the discussion, but I remember very clearly what I said. I said, okay, I want the entire tour, or I don't want the tour at all.
That was bold.
It was bold and stupid, mainly stupid. But I was headstrong. I can't excuse whatever. I mean, that's what was going through my head. Like half the tour, if I did the first half, I earned the second half. Because we're going to go out in front of nobody. I knew it was going to be. We're the band at doors. We're going to be when everyone's waking up in a parking lot. Oh, I guess it's a mile that way. And like hiking through some cornfield to get to the show. I just envisioned us playing in front of 35 people. So I said, well, if all the other bands, because all the other bands are doing the whole tour. So I said, so all the other bands, and the other bands weren't told to me at that time. I said, but all the other bands are doing the full tour. And Ted said, yeah. I said, okay, thanks. So I said to my road manager, I said, well, all the other bands get to finish the tour. Why do we get treated like half of a band? Like what? We're not playing well? And he said, well, it's an opportunity for another band to have a shot. I'm like, and that's cool. And I went, uh-huh. We're not some little band starting out. We're a band that you better be good because we're bringing a lot of intensity to the stage every night. We deserve to do the whole damn tour like the next band is going to do. And so he went, okay, let's go have a meeting with Ted. And we sat down with Ted. I said, Ted, and I was polite. I like Ted. I said, Ted, here's what, man. Thank you. 1,000 times thank you. But all the other bands are getting the whole tour. That's what I want. That's what I think is fair. So, sir. And my heart was in my throat. I'm like, what am I doing? I said, boss, I want the whole tour or none of it. And he went, okay, I see where you're coming from. And I reasoned with it. I said, look, man, I want what you all are, what all the other bands are getting. And he went, fair enough. I get it. Let me take it to Perry. Takes it to Perry, comes back, and he said, Perry agrees. Okay, you got it. And as you know, backstage at big venues, there's the day sheet. Okay, and a little bit about the city, the weather report, nearest restaurant, hospital, all that stuff, they give you on the day sheet. And the day sheet says, we would like to welcome the Rollins band to Lollapalooza. And I still have that day sheet. I was like, that's
cool.
That's going to be some history. So I took it, and it's in the archive right now. And we got it. And so we're like, well, damn, what's this going to be? So fast forward several days. The record company, everyone is ecstatic. We get tour support. So we go off from Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza is going to be Rollins Band, Butthole Surfers, Ice-T with Body Count, 9 Inch Nails. I'm Living Color, Susie and the Banshees, then Jane's Addiction. And pardon me if I've left someone out. It's only because I'm forgetful. And so every band, are you kidding? Every band, there's no lightweight bands in this lineup. It's all kill, no fill. And so how are we going to get around? Well, you can't do this in a van. The drives you need a pro. So we get our first dose of tour support. Managers talk to managers, things get worked out. We are going to be sharing a tour bus with Nine Inch Nails road crew. And so it's like 50-50, or maybe 4 of them and 6 of us, whatever it was. So we take off on Lollapalooza and we get out to Arizona, the first show. Gear's set up and we wake up at some odd hour to get the one and only sound check we're going to get for the whole tour. It's a line check, just so the front of house guy and the monitor guys can get your settings, write them down, because the rest of the tour, you're going to be running out at 10 a.m., go. And if you're 1 minute over, they just cut your power because you have to go because it's a schedule. And so we get up at whatever it was, like the sun was coming up, and Rick Smith, all right, ladies, get up and go to sound check. It's like 8 a.m. It's like 90 degrees already. It's Arizona. And we're like, oh no, what's this going to be? We do our sound check and I don't know what else we did the rest of that day. So Lollapalooza starts hours later. There's a bunch of people in a hot field, baking. The power generators to power the gig start going into overheating. We've got a problem. Not us. Lollapalooza does. Every once in a while, something's not my problem. And so the crew are like, oh no, these things, you can't touch them. You can't go near them. They're like ovens. And they will eventually just go click and just turn themselves off. You don't have a PA. So I'll never forget this. Milk crates, chunks of dry ice, and fans, basically fanning the coldest possible air into the generators. And it worked. And so Rollins band goes on. The first notes ever struck at Lollapalooza, the franchise, was the Rollins band.
That's amazing.
Pretty amazing, but it gets even more amazinger, Heidi.
All right.
And you probably never heard this story. So we open with, I think, Low Self-Opinion, which is a song that we had written. The End of Silence record hadn't been recorded yet, but we have the songs. So we're going to play them all through the summer, record them right after Lollapalooza. So we go out there, boom, 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 the big music comes in, and everyone's like, okay, all right, Rollins band. And I start singing, and they haven't turned on the vocals. So I'm up there, and I'm just mute. And I look up at this front of house like, really? Can you hit the... And so someone went mute, and I come in. So maybe the first line I wasn't on. And I'd love to see footage of that. I think there is footage. I think someone from Jane's filmed it. And you can see me looking to the side going, really? Thanks. Anyway, we were the first band ever to play Lollapalooza. Ever.
That's a big deal.
Pretty cool, And that's where the opening band gets to make a little history for themselves, And so we immediately get to see the tour environment. Like, okay, let's watch the Butthole Surfers, who I've seen a million times anyway. I've known them since the Black Flag days. And that day, I meet Ice-T. He walks up to me, and that's a friendship that endures to this day. And he walks up to me, looks me right in the eye, he goes, dope, 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 dope. And shook my hand. And I went, damn,
That's
man,
cool.
It's good to meet you, man. And we would hang out almost every day on
You guys just
on
clicked.
Lollapalooza. Yeah, immediately. Like within 10 minutes, we're just like talking about everything. And so the Butthole Surfers, I've never seen a bad Butthole Surfer show. And so the shows go on, we find our rhythm, and we worked it out with the sound guys. We said, can we show up like 15 minutes early since no one's watching us anyway? And can we play like an extra 15 minutes and we just get there early? And they're like, guys, like, we don't care. And we're already here. No one's in front of you anyway. There's like a mere 5,000 people. But by the time Nine Inch Nails goes on, there's like 15,000 people. We're the opening band. You get what you get. And so they'd let us start 15 minutes early just so we could play longer. Because once you're done playing, we're the first band. We're stuck there for the rest of the day. Because Nine Inch Nails road crew has to deal with Nine Inch Nails and the cleanup and the, the repairing of the breaking of the gear. So after a few days, we get this extra 15 minutes for about a week. And then they went, you know what, is this becoming too much? Just stick to your 45. Fair enough. So we know the Butthole Surfers. So we said, look, since you're the next band and your gear is literally standing behind ours, let's just have our road crew for the last 10 minutes of our set, just move your gear up. All you guys show up and have both bands play at the same time. Like, not just like, oh, you'll play some guitar, like both bands, 2 singers. And they went, yeah, no problem. And so we did this thing like a few times where it's me and Gibby comes out with all his sound effects. So he's like, and we would do these evil, crazy jams. And then Steve Perkins of Jane's Addiction goes like, hey, can I play percussion with you guys when you do it tomorrow? We're like, hell yeah. Like, of course. So he runs out and grabs, has all this different percussion. So he's on his knees next to me and Gibby whacking on some pan or something. And it turned into this like, come early and see like this completely mutant jam. And then Ice-T says, okay, you got to come out and sing There Goes the Neighborhood with Body Count. I'm like, done. And that turned into come and sing Cop Killer, Body Count, There Goes the Neighborhood, Voodoo Woman, or whatever the name of the Voodoo. And I ended up doing like, so on some days, I do like half the set with Ice-T. And then Sim is now doing percussion with Susie and the Banshees because they got this ridiculous percussionist. He's like crazy. And then Stephen Perkins, who's no slouch of a drummer, Sim and Steven would play percussion with Susie's people, and it sounded amazing. And then Sim is doing percussion with Jane's Addiction, and then Perkins is doing percussion during our set. Everyone just started making it fun. And at one point, we're in the South, Atlanta, and there's a Sly and the Family Stone song, Don't Call Me Whitey. And there's a lyric that's pretty hot. I won't repeat it. You all can look it up. But 2 people, the lyric is, don't call me Whitey, N-word. Don't call me N-word, Whitey. And that's the lyric. And it's an interesting kind of political point. Sly, makes a good point there. Jane's Addiction learned the song. Or is it Body Count? I forget. Or maybe both of them together. Forgive me, I forget. But I think it was in Atlanta. They go and they do this song live with Perry and Ice-T, face to face, facing each other on stage, doing this. And I'm on stage watching. We're all on stage watching. Ted, the Jane's manager, the crowd turns into a tinderbox. No fighting, but the cops are there, and everyone's like, what are you all doing? Because you hear that word going through a PA. And it's not like said twice. It goes on. And you can feel, it's like being inside of a balloon. It's getting compressed. And you're like, damn, and that's Perry? Perry lives for these moments. I've never seen a guy ever been able to walk out in front of 80 people, 25,000 people, and have an audience in the palm of his hand. I've never seen anything not even close, actually. Like, and I've seen, some pretty charismatic frontmen. I don't know what it is with him. It's intense. He's got them. It's like he's got their minds. And he likes to poke. He says he sings between songs. You're like, that's the most like right on thing I've ever heard. And he makes you think. He's also provokes. He's trying to get you to go home and, think about something. Anyway, there were days like where you'd be on stage on and off throughout the day. Like, okay, I'm going to go run and take a shower, eat, and then I got to be back on stage with Ice-T. Or Gibby's going to come and do this. Or I got to go watch Ice-T do this with that. And so all the bands started mixing together. Oh, Vernon Reid started jamming with us on guitar.
I can actually see that.
Oh, hell yeah, man. And Vernon's one
That
of the
would
nicest
work.
people you've ever met. He's also a complete and stone cold brainiac. That guy is so smart. You should have watched like him and Melvin. They get into like, and him and Melvin and Chris is like three professors. It's insane. Anyway, we said, we made friends with the Living Color guys very quickly. Oh, and Will Calhoun, is that the drummer in Living Color? Ridiculous. Yeah, I think so. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. And that might be the bass player. But the drummer in Living Color, he's like ridiculous. So he's playing with, I think, James. I think he jammed with us one day. The Nine Inch Nails drummer, he came and did the Butthole Surfers jam with us one day. Everyone said, "Ooh, can I do that with you guys tomorrow?" We're like, yeah. I mean, it just became this wonderful traveling tribe where by the fifth show, everyone is in each other's business. Where if you saw the show that day, you'd see Stephen Perkins in 3 bands, Sim Kane in 3 bands, me in 2 or 3 bands.
That sounds like so much fun.
And for the audience, you're getting something that would not have happened if you just went to go see Jane's Addiction. You're never going to see Sly Stone songs covered by Perry Farrell and Ice-T. We made this, and I've never went to another Lollapalooza. I don't know how they went. I was backstage at one, but we didn't stay long. We were just taking a break. We were driving somewhere. Anyway, it was this daily, the one thing that you should know, by the time Lollapalooza was by the 2nd or 3rd round, it became Lollapalooza Inc., where Bart Simpson was doing a thing about it on The Simpsons. It had become like, people were going, "Oh, I was in Traffic Jam Palooza." It had become an American buzzword. The first Lollapalooza was an experiment. Will the amps blow up today? Will we pull this show off? And at the end of every day, you go like, we did it. Nothing fell over and went kaboom. But the next day, like, oh no, are we going to pull it off? So every single day, there's a bit of uncertainty. And I think by the 3rd one, it's like it's Lollapalooza. But the first one was like, okay, man, it's a social experiment. And of all of the ones, I'm so glad I was on that one because it was like breaking new ground. And there was no jerks. I mean, everyone was great.
No, it sounds like a love fest.
It was a real love fest. And my great reward was I get to play in the morning. Like you'd wake up on the tour bus, like Rick is poking you. Get up, mate. You're on in 45 minutes. You're like, and you'd run into some shed, those shed venues, find a shower, stand underneath it, and just wake up and then go on stage and play. Like ding dong, good morning, time to play. It was so weird. You'd wake up on stage and you do your show, and then you might have to run on stage and kick it with the Butthole Surfers or Ice-T or whatever. Go to catering, eat some food, and the rest of the day do press, hang out with other bands, walk around, dig the people, watch whatever the Butthole Surfers are up to. Okay, the Butthole Surfers, they had a shotgun, and they would put the I don't know, what do you, a round? Because not bullets, whatever, a shotgun round with no pellets, but a bunch of powder. So when you pull the trigger, it's exceptionally loud, and since there's more powder, there's more fire and more smoke. So the Butthole Surfers go out on stage. This lasted like 2 or 3 times, and then the cops came. Anyway, it's one of the greatest and most awful things I've ever seen happen to an audience live. And, it's not me, so I can tell it. Butthole Surfers get a few songs in, and Danny, their roadie, walks on stage dragging the shotgun. He's got it by the butt, and he's dragging the barrel behind him like, "You said you wanted your shotgun," and he walks up to Gibby dragging a shotgun. And everyone's like, "That's a shotgun."
This is scary.
Yeah, it gets scarier. And Gibby in those days was so intense. So he goes up to the mic and says, "I didn't see you," whatever, dancing to the Rollins band. Damn it.
Oh, no.
Boom!
What?
And the amount of fire and sound, I mean, it's a mic'd shotgun. The fire can be seen from the cheapest seats on the field.
You could blow people's ears out.
It wasn't so much that as people thought they were
Terrifying.
getting shot at.
I know.
Because there's nothing fake looking or sounding about a shotgun with a and the thing goes, kicks up.
There's a flame.
Oh, like a foot out of the gun. And you see people ducking, running, like panicking. And he does like, boom, boom.
God.
That'll learn you. And everyone on the side of the stage going, did they just do that? It's maybe the most radical thing I've ever seen done.
I would say, that's insane.
Blew my mind. I would never do that to an audience for fear of causing a panic. Anyway, that happened 2 times for sure. And then I think the stage manager, Kevin Lyman, who invented something called Warp Tour, I think he's doing okay.
Oh.
Yeah, he's doing all right. Anyway, I think Kevin said, okay, the cops are here in anticipation of that gun coming out. That can never happen again. And the Butthole Surfers went, okay. And it never happened again. And as the tour picked up speed, just more interesting things would happen. At one point, I see Danny, the roadie, with a video camera. They should find him because he videotaped everything. He might be the one who videotaped me with no sound. Anyway, he's running out into the crowd. I said, what's he doing? He says, oh, he's following Cam. I said, who's Cam? And they go, you haven't seen Cam Elman? I go, who's Cam Elman? He goes, oh, the Camel Man. It's Gibby, dressed in this beige, like disco pantsuit. Remember those kind of like jacket pant things that
Those polyester things?
Yes, where the waist comes up to like your sternum, and it came with the matching stretchy, okay.
Leisure suit.
Yes, thank you. It's been so long. He's dressed in that with like a pith helmet on, or like some Sherlock Holmes hat on, with a wig, fake mustache, glasses, and he's walking through the audience being a total freak and walking up and shaking people's hands. And people are just reacting to him like, look at that guy. He doesn't know how weird he is. And Danny's just following, getting reactions. And
This is genius.
Amazing. Gibby stands out. He's like 6 foot something. Tall man in a ridiculous outfit. And we all watched him just being a complete maniac. And so that happened. One day, let's see, the roadies were getting worked very hard, and they had like a boys' night out one night. Like, okay, after we load in the gear, we're gonna go have some drinks. And these are rough dudes. And we were somewhere, and like, what happened? Why are you guys so late? Oh, 3 of these guys got arrested, fighting or something. We had to bail them out. Production's running a little behind, and it was just this really crazy.
Was it one of your funnest times?
It might be the funnest tour I ever did.
Sounds like it.
It was. And so for me, my reward was do your show, collaborate with anyone else. And then at the end of the evening, go see Jane's Addiction. And I missed one show. And I'd run to the side of the stage and watch, just watch them just go out there and just crush it every night. Like Navarro, the solos, Jane, Steven, just
That's
Eric.
a great rhythm section.
Oh, forget it. Eric and Steven, it's as good as rock and roll gets. The only thing, and this is huge, but I'm going to do it because this is my opinion. The only band I've ever seen that had the big factor where you just saw something that was epic was the one time I saw Led Zeppelin, where you go, this needs an arena. You can't put this in a club. I mean, not even The Who. When I saw The Who, and they were cool. The Who didn't even have this thing where you're like standing in front of something. Where Zeppelin, you're like, whoa. I saw The Who like from the 50-yard line in a stadium where you can't even really see them. And it was like, are they there? Is it a record they're playing? It wasn't epic. It was more people. It was like 3 times the amount. It was like Dodger Stadium or something. But it wasn't Led Zeppelin. But Jane's Addiction had this thing. You're like, this is something that's larger than the band. This is probably going to be something we're all going to be talking about in 25 years. And I've really never seen a band do it like that. But besides Zeppelin, it's the other time I walked away going, oh, damn. Anyway, they did that like every night. And then there's like some peak nights, like the second night in Dallas. It was just like the best show of the tour for them. It was just like, I don't know, everything was in alignment. You walked away like numb. Like, I think that's the best gig I've ever seen. Anyway, it was just a great time because we can't leave because we have to wait for Nine Inch Nails and their road crew to pack up. So here's another thing, and this is really amazing. At the end of the night, we can't leave because things are being packed up, but you have to wait for like 25,000 people to leave, and the highways are shut down. So they're all going home. You see these trails of red lights leaving the parking lot. So we're all just waiting. And so all the bands hang out. The smell of marijuana's in the air. People are just like, taking a load off. So I forget who does the T-shirts for Lollapalooza. Brockham, like one of those mega companies. The two T-shirt guys, the kind of the guys who run the thing, are there. And they'd always be sitting on a park bench or just sitting, and they're always really nervous. Hey guys, how's your day? Can't talk right now. Okay, no problem. And they're always really uptight. Like, what's their problem? And they're sitting with...
Sounds like they were up to something.
Oh, no, it gets better. And they're sitting with all these, laundry bags, huge canvas bags. And you'd walk up, like, hey, man, because I talk to them every day. And they're super nice. I'm like, how's it going? Can't talk. You can't come near us right now. Okay, man, it's cool, whatever. They're sitting on duffel bags of cash from the T-shirts.
Aha.
And over this warm, misty field comes a Brinks truck. And these armed men hop out, and hands are shook, things are signed off for. And from underneath the picnic table comes like the other 8 bags of money that you didn't see. And like some amazing amount of money leaves them, goes into the truck, they sign for it. The truck goes away, and then they apologize. Sorry for being uptight. It's a big deal. And then they both light up joints and go like, how was your show? And you learn to leave them alone until the truck came. But you'd look at all that money and go, oh, that's insane. And so that's just some of it. And so I'll leave you with this. I'll wrap it up with this. The last show is Seattle. And I hate goodbyes. And like 2 shows from the end, I started getting that. If you've ever broken up with someone and you're going to break up and you just start anticipating the sadness, you're like, this is going to hurt. I'm hurting right now. I didn't want this tour to end.
Right.
I love these people. I love what we were doing. It was like a held breath. You knew it couldn't last. And it was such a charmed existence. Nothing could fail. We're the opening band. There's not much pressure on us. The food was good. People liked us. We knew next year for us was going to be an amazing year because we had a good record ready to record. The audience liked us. We just knew that here it comes. Good things are coming. And we just completed this amazing tour that's probably going to help us get very far. So you knew it, and you knew this was a life-changing experience on so many levels. Career, or just part of being something, part of something that was just like historical. You knew it. And so last show, Seattle. And I'm like brokenhearted. I'm like, I can't stand it. And so I didn't tell my bandmates or anybody, but I had my road manager book me an early flight out.
That is so Henry.
And so I just didn't. And you also, there's that finish the show, complete the mission, no sentimentality, no hugs, get on to the next thing. And so the show was over, and I packed up, and some runner guy drove me in a van while Butthole Surfers or Ice-T was on. And I drove to the airport, SeaTac or wherever. And I was back in LA. I was back in my apartment 4 hours later, whatever. And I put my bag down and went, what have I done? What the hell did I do? And I damn near wept. I sat in my room, and I'm like, oh, Nine Inch Nails is about to go on. Oh no, I got to get back up there. Like, what was I thinking? And I missed the last show. And so afterwards, I saw my bandmates again. They said, what happened happened to you? I said, did the Rawlings, man. I had to cut out. And they're like, you blew it, man. Jane's Addiction made, gave a toast to everybody and thanked everyone, and you weren't there, and you're a schmuck, and everyone was looking for you. I'm like, I so blew it. I just, no, I can't defend it. I just did it. But I sat in my room that night knowing, okay, Jane's will be on it. Like, I had the day sheet with me. I said, Jane's will be on at 10 p.m. or whatever it was. And I just sat there with a lump in my throat going, man, you royally screwed that up. So it's not the end of the world, but I should have been there. And so it was easily the funnest tour I've ever done. And I've done so many tours, but that was the funnest. As far as a high point, there's been a lot of high points, but that was easily, if not the one, it's for sure one of them. I don't know, as far as like fun and daily amazement, I don't think any single tour of ours compares.
Sounds amazing.
Super lucky.
I wish I was there.
And and thanks to Perry and the band, Jane's Addiction for letting us, they could have picked any band they wanted to open that. And there's a lot of bands who would have been worthy of, there's a lot of good bands out there. Should have been Dinosaur Jr. or Sonic Youth or. But it was us.
It's cool that it was you guys.
Oh, no. Not only was it cool, we were just lucky bastards, right time, right place. Jane's Addiction had seen us like 4 or 5 times and went, wow, they can play. And so we earned our little moment in the sun. So that's Lollapalooza in 1991. And it turned me into the most insanest Jane's Addiction collector boy, where I would go over to Steve Perkins' house where he's got like every Jane's Addiction show ever recorded. I said, can I borrow all of those DAT tapes? And he went, no. That didn't happen. And there's something that I have to do that you're not going to like.
What do you mean?
There's a sound. There's a sound that you're going to hear that can only mean one thing. And here's that sound. Oh, wow. Wow. There wasn't even a fade in. It's just like, good morning. There's a shark in the shower with you. That sound, Heidi has an odd affection for. That sound can only mean it's time for Heidi's headline. And today's headline comes in a huge green index card. Heidi, in her own way, is like the state of Texas. It's always bigger in Texas. Big writing, big sunglasses, huge amounts of cold, caffeinated drinks at 9:30 in the morning, which makes her an unreasonable and unwieldy quantity for the rest of the day. Whew, I don't know how I survived.
Funny you should say that, because the headline.
Oh, let me see. And so here's the headline. Oh, Henry makes Heidi a cup of coffee and because he uses 10 pounds of coffee per cup, she's up for 3 days straight.
It's true, Henry.
Well, Heidi,
I decided to drink coffee and you, let me make you a cup.
I made you a cup of fair trade beans that were brought to us as a gift by John Travis of Drop in the Bucket from Uganda.
But did you have to use the whole bag of beans in my one cup?
Heidi,
my spine went up in flames and my head popped off. And for 3 nights,
yeah,
I'm not kidding, I could not get to sleep.
Sometimes when you're on caffeine, you're like the squirrel monkey. You're like Morgan the monkey at the pet shop who assaulted me.
Like this.
No, ow, stop it. You are a maniac. The damn thing just wheeled over and clawed me. And so,
anyway,
Heidi May, just so you know.
Don't ever have Henry make you a cup of coffee unless
you'll
you want
enjoy it too much.
Your head will
explode. If you're
explode.
a coffee aficionado,
if you like really,
you'll call me all kinds of nice names.
It's so thick, it drips like honey.
You'll invite me over again. And so Heidi obviously can't handle it.
I can't.
And so now she's back on the coffee.
Your fault.
And I have to deal with this for the rest of the year. So that's the world I'm living in. And let me see if I can find something on the old computer here.
Go on henryrollins.com and scroll down the videos and look for an old video of him making a cup of coffee. It only takes about 45 minutes per cup.
Well, whatever. I'm trying to do something. And so, wonderful listener, I hope you enjoyed the Lollapalooza. It was one of the most moving experiences of my life. And I cannot thank Perry Farrell enough. He's for me, he's one of those guys. Perry.
No, he's magic. He's magic.
Yeah, Perry changed my life. Like Perry altered the course of my life, which is a pretty intense thing to say. But I'm right. He altered the course of the Rollins band, and he changed the course of my life. Like whenever I see him, I saw him last year at Riot Fest, and whenever I see him, he's always cool to me. Like, hey man, and I always see him. I'm like, Perry Farrell, damn man, you're like one of those big people in my life. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever told him that, but
Well, you probably should.
yeah, he's definitely one of those guys. All right, so let's see. Oh, look at that! That sound can only mean that you're done with us for a while. Thank you so much for listening,
Thank you.
and until we meet again, keep listening.
Oh my God, I drank too much coffee. I don't feel well.
Really?
No, seriously.
I'm sweating. I don't know. Why am I sweating?
I don't know, but I don't feel well.
Oh, you're going to leave that? Is that how you're Is that how you're going to
we
lock
still
out?
on?
Of course we're
Henry.
still on. It's behind the scenes. Is it?
I never know how long I'm going to go for. I don't feel well.
Oh, okay. Well, now it's really over.
That's a lot of
No, it's not
applause.
over. I guess we're still on. Okay.